All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tangletown Neighborhood Association's presentation on resource sharing and the impact of borrowing. As we've been doing, please, if you're new to the presentation, please share a time in the chat when you've shared or borrowed something, a physical item or a skill, something like a drill or a crock pot, in the chat so that we can start a conversation in the chat about resource sharing. If you would like to be entered to win a one-year membership to either the Minneapolis Toy Library or the Minnesota Tool Library, please include your name that you registered under in the chat, and we will do a drawing after the presentations. And please mute yourself to ensure that we get quality audio for everyone. If you have any questions at any time, please enter them in the chat and we will answer them as the presenters finish their presentations. So you can do the next slide, Andrea. So the hosts tonight is the Tangletown Environmental Committee. We are a committee that has initiatives, resources, and events that reduce negative environmental impacts and protect our planet. Our core areas of focus include water quality, waste reduction, energy efficiency, and environmental justice. Our current programs include managing waste from electronics and appliances responsibly event series. Tonight's programming is a part of that event series. We also do a Sustainability SAM blog each month and a quarterly email newsletter. And we are currently doing a Tangletown residential rooftop solar rebate. You can find out more about all of those programming things at our website, tangletown.org. The Environmental Committee meets on the second Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. for our meetings. We meet virtually every month. We do try to get together in person at least once a year, usually in the summertime. You can email us at info@tangletown.org or check out our website at tangletown.org to get involved. We'd love to invite or have new members get involved at any time. Next slide. Upcoming events in Tangletown are the Hennepin County Fix-It Clinic. This is another event in our series. That is taking place Saturday, January 13th from 12 to 4 p.m. at St. John's Lutheran Church, located at 48th Street and Nicollet Avenue. You can bring your small household appliances, clothing, electronics, and more, and receive free guided assistance from volunteers with repair skills to disassemble, troubleshoot, and fix your items. There's no pre-registration required for that. You can just show up with your item and have somebody help you to hopefully repair it there or to hopefully help you assess the problem and give you more advice on how to get it repaired. There's also the Tangletown Winterfest, which is coming up on Saturday, February 24th from 5 o'clock to 8 p.m. in Fuller Park at 48th Street and Grand Avenue. Celebrate the beauty of winter with us. Roast s'mores over a bonfire, go sledding, watch a fire performer spin fire, grab dinner from a local food truck, and more. You can learn more about these events at tangletown.org. As part of our e-waste series, we are asking participants to make an e-waste commitment. Help us show our impact by making an e-waste reduction commitment. Make a commitment to reducing your e-waste. Help us make an impact by filling out our e-waste reduction commitment to let us know the reuse, repair, and recycling strategies you will use to reduce your e-waste. Andrea just posted the link in the chat, so we would request that you go to that link and fill out a e-waste reduction commitment for us that just tells us how you are looking to use the information you're learning in our series to reduce your e-waste. Tonight's speakers are Rebecca Nutter, who is the director of the Minneapolis Toy Library. Rebecca has a background in early education, which led her to create the Toy Library. She likes to stress the importance of toy libraries as a way to reduce waste and foster early development. She lives in Apple Valley with her husband and 3 daughters. Nancy Lowe works for Hennepin County's Department of Environment and Energy. She coordinates the Fix-It Clinic program, works on business recycling and waste prevention, food waste prevention, the Zero Waste Challenge program, and apartment recycling. Martha Garces is originally from Michigan. She's lived in Minneapolis since 2008 and has been a Kingfield homeowner since 2014. She's been a longtime fan of antique and thrift shopping and had her first child in 2018, and that led her to delve deeper into secondhand markets, both locally and online. She found the Buy Nothing Bryant, Bancroft, Regina, Field, and Northrop on Facebook and loved it so much that she decided to start a similar group for the Kingfield neighborhood. Martha's husband, Tom, is also a member of the group, and both her young children, Joaquin and Orla, love the toys, books, and games that come from the free group. So please welcome tonight's speakers, and we will start with Rebecca. Next slide, sorry. Is that all, Andrea, for the?
That is the end. Rebecca, are you going to share your own slides?
I can try.
Or if you'd prefer, I can do it as well.
Here's, yeah.
Good.
Share slideshow. Okay, are we there? We're good?
It says loading on my end.
Oh, it looks good on my end. Otherwise you could share it too, but do you want to try sharing it? Or we can just wait.
Yeah, I still see loading.
I see loading too.
Okay.
Stop and then try again.
Yeah, try one more time. I had a hard time the first time getting my first slide to pop up.
Yeah, I don't know why it says screen sharing is paused.
All right. Well, let me get your slides open. This is why we do the backup, right?
Yeah.
Give me one.
I've lost audio now. I'm not certain what's going on.
Oh, because I was muted. Now you should.
Oh, that's it. Now I got you.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll go ahead and unmute.
All right. And everyone can see Community Toy Box?
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Rebecca, so I'm the director of the Minneapolis Toy Library. I never thought I'd be a toy librarian. My background's in early childhood education. And so I was in childcare for a long time and then became a stay-at-home mom, and then joined two other moms in Minnesota that wanted to start a toy library in 2014. So since like 2018, I've been the director, and since then we've grown and we have 2 locations. So yeah, so let's delve into a little bit more about the toy library. So we call it a community toy box because that's kind of what it is. So a toy library operates much like a book library, except there are toys. Toy libraries exist as nonprofits like ourselves, businesses, LLCs. Some run out of schools like early childhood facilities, churches, and if you're lucky, you run out of a book library because then you get the backing of the county, which is great. They offer inventory appropriate for young children, older children, and children that require adapted toys. So it's just up to whoever is running their toy library and what their clientele and what their community is needing. The USA Toy Library Association has a list of toy libraries across the country. And that website is usatla.org. So go to the next slide. Why are toy libraries important? So they offer caregivers, and I say caregivers because it's not just families, it's nannies, teachers, grandparents, anybody who's caring for young children. So we offer caregivers a way to play without breaking the bank. So there's a huge financial win for those caregivers. Our membership starts at $40 a year, so it's very affordable. And we also have other options, like if you just want to borrow for one time, it's I think $10. And if you want to borrow for 3 months, it's $20. We really try to make it accessible for all. And so we help caregivers understand child development and the importance of toys and play. So we do a lot of education around how a certain toy can help a child learn different skills. For example, a lacing board can really help with fine motor skills. So the muscles in the hands that are important for writing and getting ready for kindergarten. It allows caregivers to borrow versus buying new, a less environmental impact. So I think that's something we're all interested in, and that's why we're here. Is that you can go to Target with your kids and you often say no, 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 because they're looking at all the toys, but we like to say it's toy library. You can say yes, yes, yes. You can let them look and let them choose, and you get to bring it back. So teaches young children about responsibility and community. That's a huge part for me, is watching and hearing children talk about a toy library, that they borrow the materials, they bring it back, they understand that they have to take care of the toys when they're in their home. Sometimes families will get their kids together. It's time to clean the toys before they bring them back. They understand that they're part of something bigger. So it's not just a focus on themselves, that they're part of a bigger community. And just that last part, let's look for that at the toy library. I hear parents saying that all the time, when they have to say no at a store, they can say, let's look for that at the toy library. So it's something that I think kids are understanding, and I hope that they take that with them when they grow up. And if they are parents themselves, being part of a toy library will hopefully be the norm. Toy library, the Minneapolis Toy Library is in 2 locations. South Minneapolis, we're renting space from the Richfield Lutheran Church. So that's kind of crosstown in Nicollet. In Northeast Minneapolis, inside another church. Yeah, I have the I thought I had the addresses on here, 2510 Cleveland. So those are the two locations. We currently have 475 active members. We've had a grand total of over 1,000 members. So families age out because our focus is on 0 to 5 years old. So we provide toys appropriate for that age. So once they get older, they are no longer a member. We've been in operation since 2015. And right now we have the 4 of us. So that's myself and Carrie in the green shirt is our volunteer coordinator. And then the girls on the ends, Teresa and Abby, run the Northeast Minneapolis location. And we also have a board of directors, and we're currently looking for more members if you're interested. How to support the toy library. You can donate toys that are appropriate for age 0 to 5 anytime we're open. Of course, sharing information with neighbors, family, and friends. That's been our biggest marketing tool. You can buy gift certificates for membership to the toy library, either in person or electronically. You can volunteer, come hang out with us, help reshelf toys. I just love it being at the toy library because I get to see the young kids again. All my girls are grown up. So, just being around all the young kids and seeing what they pick. And also, if you have skills to share, we love to put those things to work. You can email us about that. I think I just have some pictures at the end, maybe. So the one on the left, that little guy, is probably like 9 years old now. That was when we first started. And then a mom mulling over some decisions for toys. And then members playing with their toy library toys. So on the left, that kiddo borrowed a snow brick maker and they made a fort. And the family on the right, those kids are really old now. They were so excited to play with their toys, they had to open them up on the grass before they got in the house. And I think that's it. So if you want more information, there's the website and an email. So thank you.
Rebecca, is there a way to donate towards a membership for someone in need? Do you have a way of doing that?
So you can donate online if you'd like. There's a donate button. That's through GiveMN. So I don't think you can denote that, but checks are always welcome to the toy library, and making a note that you simply want to donate for a membership for someone. So we have a scholarship fund that we would add that to. So yeah, thank you.
And is there any sort of pickup and delivery options for people who have maybe mobility issues?
Currently, no, we don't. Yeah, we used to do curbside pickup during COVID, but right now we don't. We just don't have the manpower for it.
What are items you would say that are most in need?
I always think about winter in Minnesota, large motor toys. So that's and large motor materials. So that's things that gets your whole body moving, you're jumping, you're using a balance beam, but that you can do inside. So that's, obstacle courses. There's a range of different materials. There's a strange thing called a billabo, which is like a bucket hat, but you sit on it. Balance beams, things like that, step buckets where you put your feet on them and you walk. So anything to get the kids moving inside. There's even large motor games like Cat in the Hat has one where it's like, watch me do this, and you have to, follow the actions.
Is there like a list on your website that says things like do you have like a wish list on your website of things you'd like to have people donate?
Yeah, so we have an Amazon wish list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could add it in the chat if you're interested.
Yeah, please do. And is there a certain age range that you wish you got more donations for?
Mm, I think the older 5-year-olds with like board games, would be nice to have some older ones. We do have a great selection of board games, even for 2-year-olds, that just introduces them to turn taking, but I think more challenging 5-year-old puzzles. We also have an adapted toy section. So adaptive toys are toys that are changed so that a child with physical limitations can use that toy. So often there's a literal button that if the child can literally just push the button, they can make the toy work without having to use like finer muscle skills. So those are called adaptive toys. That selection is very sad just because we haven't had funds to work on that. So really it requires the purchase of a button, a battery interrupter, and then we would have the toy. And I know how to do all that. And I have some grants out for the community hoping to get some money for that. So that section could use some work. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Rebecca. It was really good to hear more about that. It's like, I think such a great idea. I wish they had it when my kids were small. Next, we'll hear from Nancy Lowe, who's from Hennepin County's Department of Environment and Energy, and she coordinates the Fix-It Clinic program.
Okay, let's see if I have any more success with this.
Oh, there it goes.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I have been coordinating the Fix-It Clinic program since 2010, so it's been 13 years. And I think we just recently had our 105th clinic. So it's been going on for quite a while, and I have to say I'm a little dismayed when I hear from people that they still haven't heard about the clinic and, oh, I could have taken that in and fixed that or whatever. So hopefully you all can help me spread the word a little bit more. And maybe it's just slow to advance. That's what I'm hoping.
I feel like it's a Zoom thing today. This is my third meeting or thing on Zoom today that is glitchy.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like if I keep on pressing the button and nothing's happening, it's all of a sudden it'll go to like the 5th slide.
Right. I always think these are the days that like the companies are deciding to update something on their end, like Zoom 14.0 or something.
And they don't want us to know, of course.
Right. It is not advancing on my end. I still
Let
have
me try one more time. Andrea, you might have to work your magic.
All right. I think you're the only one whose slides I don't have. Can you email them to me really quick?
Sure. I think I sent you the PDF.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, late on Monday, I want to say. Or maybe it was yesterday.
Look.
I will send them again.
Now I'm worried hopefully no one can see my screen because I don't want anyone to witness my mess of an inbox. Oops. That's not what we want.
Yeah, it was Wednesday evening.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Nancy, that first picture was amazing. It was so bustling.
Yeah.
There were so many people at that Fix-It clinic.
It's cool to see the photos, but it's nothing like being there in person. Just the energy and the joy and the, the camaraderie and the collaboration and the cooperation. It's really fun. It's a really fun environment. So pictures are okay, but it's nothing like being there in person.
All right, can
What's-
everyone see them again?
Yeah.
The lead side, okay.
Yep.
And you can still hear me. Let me see if I can get rid of the thumbnails and still, so that everyone has it a little bit bigger on their side. All right,
Yay, that worked.
can you see it?
Yep.
Yay, all right. Let's do this.
So, yeah, let's do this. So we have clinics once a month and we move them around Hennepin County. So a lot of the times they're in Minneapolis, but we try to go out to, we kind of rotate among the other suburban communities every couple of years. So, a lot of people like to go to the ones that are right near them. So we'll be in Eden Prairie one day and then 1 month, and then we'll be in St. Louis Park 1 month. We'll be in Champlin another month, Bloomington. So we kind of rotate around, and basically you show up with your stuff and you get paired with a volunteer who sits down with you and helps you with your item. I do want to say thank you for plugging our January event, but we do, this is pretty important. We ask people to come by 3:30 because if you show up at 3:45 and the clinic closes at 4, we don't have a whole lot of time to help you. So 3:30 is kind of our cutoff time for those of you who saw the event earlier for the January event and are interested in coming. So Hennepin was the first county to start the program, and then since then, Dakota and Ramsey and Anoka and Carver have their own programs as well. Next slide, please. And I think the basis of it is that we can help you learn really valuable skills. And we're also building connections between different people in the community, different empowerment connections, and ultimately, hopefully, we're throwing fewer things away. And like I said, just being at the event itself, it's incredibly fun. And just to emphasize the resource sharing, it's a very collaborative. The volunteers work together. The participants are expected to actively participate. You are not supposed to just sit there on your phone and be doing word games or dropping off items and then coming and picking them up later. You work together with your volunteer. You learn how to work with tools. It's a really fun experience. And some people, though, don't quite understand that about it. So that's something that we try to really emphasize, is that you're working on it together. And the volunteers are, sharing their time, and then they're sharing their incredible, vast knowledge of all kinds of mechanical and electrical and electronic things. I did not create or come up with this idea. There was a woman in Amsterdam who came up with it, and I read about it in the New York Times back in 2009. And I thought, this is fantastic. We should do this here. And so my supervisor at the time at Hennepin County said, okay, let's try it. And so that's how it started. So I don't take credit for creating the idea. We primarily work on just things at home that break, that there are no repair shops for. So coffee makers and fans and lamps and toasters, but also we worked on a lot of clothing and some vintage toys. It's pretty much whatever you have at home that might break and that you can physically bring into the clinic. And like I said, you work with the volunteer, and it's not just letting them do all of it while you just sit there. So it's a very communal experience. And luckily, people have been very, very happy with the program. This is just a sample of the comments that we get. We survey participants after each event. So we find out, you know, where did they come from? How did they find out about the event? Has this affected any of their decisions about possibly repairing things or buying things so that they can be repairable? And then we also ask them if they have any feedback for us. So they're very complimentary to the volunteers, and I share all of these comments with the volunteers in kind of a wrap-up email afterward. So I love this first one. This is exactly the kind of person that we're trying to reach. I mean, of course, we want the people who are already inclined to take something apart and try to fix it, but we have changed some people's, you know, mindset about it. And so I think that that is incredibly satisfying, both for me and for the volunteers. And I think kids also, it's kind of like Rebecca said, they're told no, no, no at Target and yes at the toy library. We try to encourage kids to participate and to take things apart and work with tools. And I think it's a wonderful place for them to be able to really explore that creativity and that problem solving part of their brain that maybe at home their parents don't have time for them to do that or don't have the space for them to do that. So this is exactly the kind of setting that we want to encourage kids to come to. And just some more photos. People having a good time.
I love the boombox over the head. I mean,
Yeah.
my generation.
Yep. And this is my last slide, just some more photos for you to look at. This is just a representation of the kinds of things that happen at the clinics. It's just a really wonderful program. And happy to take questions, or we can do questions later, whichever we want.
Do you have a hard time finding the people to help you do it, or do you have consistently the same people that are the fixers?
I'm very happy to say I don't have a hard time finding people. I have volunteers who come month after month after month. And then I think one of the most satisfying things is they encourage their family members, their coworkers, their friends to volunteer with them. They're like, hey, I'm doing this great volunteer thing. You should volunteer with me. So we have a husband and wife, actually 2 husband and wife teams who come a lot. We have a group of 3 friends who comes all the time. We have coworkers. We have actually a volunteer who met his spouse at a Fix-It clinic. So it's really great. And then we also keep having new volunteers too. So I'd say I probably have 1 new volunteer every month or a month, you know, every 2 months. So there's always new people coming in, but then the volunteers who have been with our program for years, they keep coming as well.
That's great.
With regard to clothing, I assume most of it is mending things, but
Yes.
do people ever come in to say, like, I need help tailoring something, like hemming
Yeah.
a pair of pants or that sort of thing?
They do, and it gets a little tricky because that takes a little bit longer. And if we have a long line of people waiting, then we might kind of discourage that. So it's a tricky balance because we don't ask people to pre-register. And it really just depends how busy we are. So yes, some people do come in for alterations.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever had brought in to be fixed?
There's just a really large variety of very cool things that people bring in. You know, it'll be family heirlooms or vintage toys. I think the weirdest thing ever was, and I actually took a video of it after it got fixed. I believe it was a toy from Germany, but I used the term toy loosely because I think it would give me nightmares. It was like kind of a witch's head that kind of cackled, and it was a really creepy and spooky toy. But it wasn't electronic, and so we got it working again. So I guess that was kind of weird.
You have, if you can't fix something, are there resources you give the people to like what to do with it possibly afterwards?
Yep. We encourage them to take it, you know, for scrap metal recycling or electronics recycling to one of the Hennepin drop-offs, or, you know, but yes.
I feel like we now all have a challenge to find our weirdest thing to show up at Fix-It Clinic.
That would be cool.
That'll be our next commitment card we send out.
Could I jump in and try to share slides?
Let's do
Sure.
it.
All
Yes,
right.
thank you, Nancy.
Good thing. Good luck, Martha. Hope it works.
Um,
I-
so
Looks good.
as Andrea mentioned earlier, I am one of the admins, is what Facebook calls us. We're like moderators. I work with another person named Heather, who also lives in the Kingfield neighborhood, for the local Buy Nothing group. I can't see the grid of everyone right now, but I'm curious, are there folks who are watching right now who are members of the group in the neighborhood? And is anybody not? Just before we get started, so I can have like a sense of the room here. I don't know, maybe you can put in the chat if you are, if you aren't.
I know you can't
We're-
see the grid, but can you see the chat to see what people are saying, or do you want us to read it?
Yeah, tell me what people are saying, because I can't see the chat.
We're getting definitely. I'm a member.
Okay.
I'm a member. I'm a member.
Okay.
So a few people.
Okay. So regardless of whether you're a member or not, you may not be familiar with sort of how big this thing is. Buy Nothing is a space to give away things you don't want and ask for things you need. And it's a grassroots movement that encourages people to do a lot of the things that Tingletown is really getting at here. And it's also very geographically specific. So we have these community based groups like we do here, where it's Kingfield, Tingletown, and East Harriet. And the kind of tagline from Buy Nothing is that you should give where you live. And the other word that they use is that this is a gift economy. So it exists outside of the market economy. We encourage and we actually require everyone to give freely with no strings attached, and be really transparent about the condition of things and things like that. Most groups operate on Facebook. I know there was one question that came in ahead of this event tonight asking whether there was a way to participate if you're not on Facebook. And the founders actually created in the past year a Buy Nothing app where it is possible to participate. The only thing is, I don't know how popular that app is in Minneapolis. Our group is still on Facebook. Most groups that I'm aware of are still operating on Facebook. I tried out the app when it was first introduced, and I have not tried it since, so I can't really speak to it because I know it's probably grown and changed since then, but that is something that you can check out on your phone or on an iPad if you're looking to get into Buy Nothing but don't want to do Facebook. So this little map down in the corner shows our group, Kingfield, Tingletown, and East Harriet. The map of Minneapolis is pretty much completely covered at this point. There are very few areas that don't have groups. So if you know people that live elsewhere, you can also let them know about Buy Nothing. The project was started by a couple of friends, two women on the Pacific Northwest. They were actually on a beach and noticed all of the plastic that was on the beach. And the sort of one of the purposes of the Buy Nothing project was to actually reduce plastic in particular, because it ends up just everywhere when people are done using it. And they wrote a book that was put out in 2020 that you can also look into if you're curious to learn more. It's called The Buy Nothing, Get Everything Plan. And so that was in 2013 that they began the movement, and it arrived in Minneapolis sometime around 2017 or 2018. I talked with other people that operate other groups, and we couldn't really figure out which one of those years was where it started, but somewhere around there. And then I started our group in the neighborhood in August of 2020, right in the midst of the pandemic, and people were really hungry for person-to-person connection. The group grew really fast as a result, and most people at that time were avoiding doing shopping that wasn't necessary. So the group became a way to sort of like go shopping in the neighborhood without having to even have contact with anybody else, because a lot of the pickups are just grabbing something in a bag off of someone's stoop. Very informal. And today the group has almost 2,500 members. Most people would say that's too big for a Buy Nothing group, but right now we don't have plans to split the group up in any way. And I think most people in the group are opposed to that, actually. So for now, we're a big group. As I mentioned before, it is a very big movement that's all over the world. It's been written about publications in Minneapolis have covered Buy Nothing. So you may have read about it before, even if you're not part of a group. And this is what it looks like to be inside of a group. We have in the Facebook group and on the app, there are 3 kinds of posts. You can either do a give, an ask, or a gratitude. A give is anything that you want to offer. It can be a physical item or it can be a skill. So when we were talking about sharing of our abilities earlier, you can offer to mend something for someone else, or you can ask for someone to mend something for you. Asking, this is one of the biggest points of confusion in the group. An ask is not a question. An ask is a request for something that you need. So again, that can be an ask for a gift of service. We had someone who was ill and needed help shoveling, and other people in the group helped them. We have people who need toys or clothes or winter gear for their kids, and they ask for those things. And then the gratitude posts are really special. Nancy mentioned how, the clinics just build connections between people. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about Buy Nothing groups too, is the way that people come together and share appreciation for things that others in the community have been able to do for them. These are some example posts. If you're on Facebook, this probably will look familiar to you. I shared these ones in particular because I think it's funny that people offer like a single bunch of cilantro, and that someone is willing to like drive over to their house to pick up that single bunch of cilantro. We ask people to mention where pickup is, because not everyone has access to a car. Some people prefer to walk or bike. So that's something that I'm always kind of pushing is include your pickup location when you post your items. A post of mine here, these rainbow toys. Borrowing is most often happens with books in the group. Here's an example of someone asking to borrow a parenting book. And in October, requests for things to put together Halloween costumes were huge. So seasonally, things kind of shift and vary as well. This person that asked for this Pedro Pascal costume, by the way, was appeared in the Star Tribune, and it was kind of fun to see them featured because it was like, they're in my Buy Nothing group. And getting at borrowing and lending as well, beyond individual posts, we also have within the group a lot of traveling bins. Those include things like maternity clothes, kids' shoes. There's a party box. One person has single-handedly created a huge event box that includes like beautiful cloth napkins and all of these things to do a zero waste event. There's baby gear, adult clothing in some cases by size. And then in terms of borrowing, because this event is a lot about borrowing, the most common things that I see, I mentioned already, books, but tools as well. And I know we were initially maybe going to hear from someone from the tool library, or maybe I had that wrong, but it's cool to me that there's a toy library and a tool library, and toys and tools and things like that come up so often in our group too. So if you do want to join and you're not already a member or you're curious, I created a short link, is.gd/Kingfield will get you to the group, or you can search for Buy Nothing Kingfield on Facebook. You can find us even if you just search for Kingfield, but you'll have to go down a few things. And as I mentioned, you can look for the app in the App Store on whatever phone or tablet you have. And that's all I have.
Martha, real quick, for those who, the Kingfield is a multi-neighborhood group, right? It's like Kingfield, Tangletown.
Yes.
I don't remember the other two, but if they're not, if someone isn't in those neighborhoods, how would you recommend they search on Facebook for their?
Yeah, I can actually throw in the chat a link to all the groups in Minnesota that appears in a map. And on that map, there are links to Facebook. So this is sort of my reference whenever I want to see, because I get that question a lot from people that try to join our group, but they don't actually live in our neighborhood. I'm struggling to find the chat button. Where are you? I'm not a very zoomy person. Ah, there it is. Here we go.
I'm a huge, huge, huge Buy Nothing fan. I love it to death. I can't even express how much I love Buy Nothing. And
What's your group?
So I was in South Minneapolis,
Mhm.
and I just moved to Northeast. And so
Okay.
the Northeast group is a lot smaller, and I'm like, really, I mean, people would take like the smallest, craziest, most random things. And I was like, oh my, and they were like, I love this thing. It's in my living room right now. And I was like, thank goodness it didn't just go to Goodwill or Salvation Army and then get tossed in the trash. So
Yeah.
I love Buy Nothing so much.
I see every post because that's kind of my job, is to monitor it. And I so frequently go, nobody's going to want this. Nobody's going to want this. And it's like so bizarre. It's like, I do, like 6 people want it. Or people will ask for something that is so specific and so rare. And within 5 minutes, someone will say, yes, I have that for you.
Exactly. And when I knew I was going to move, I was like, okay, I'm just getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff like that I know is, like I said, stuff that really, the reuse retailers don't necessarily want. So I was just giving away like a pot holder or some blankets that were, great for dogs, but I don't think, that a person would want them. And so I was just like little by little, like every week, I would just post a whole bunch of stuff and then just put everyone's name on it. And another great thing is I would sometimes deliver stuff. So I just get on my bike, you know, and I would go and pick up like 2 things and then drop off like 4 things. And so I'd make this little loop in my neighborhood. It was like a great reason to like get out and ride my bike after work. Anyway, I can't say enough of praise about Buy Nothing.
That's great. Does anyone have questions?
Have there ever been any disputes over when I get on Buy Nothing and usually somebody's giving something and lots of people want it? Has there ever been any disputes over how they choose who gets to have it?
So when there's a lot of interest in an item, the most common thing that happens is that the person giving the gift will send me a message and be like, how do I decide who to give this to? And the answer is always like, however you want. It's always up to the giver. The main thing that we try to discourage is like a first come, first serve attitude, you know, or like first comment gets it, which is how most groups operate on the internet. And so, you know, people will draw names. Sometimes I tell my toddler 5 names and I say, you know, should I give it to Alex or Susan or so on? And see, you know, he just says one randomly. My husband sometimes does data entry random name picker for me because he knows how to code. But disputes over someone getting something and someone else wanting something, I don't think I've ever seen that. People do get upset about posts. Sometimes Facebook has, you know, the features that allow you to flag things that you think might have offensive content, or that type of thing. And that has happened a fair amount recently, actually. And I'm glad to have a fellow admin because we can kind of talk together about, you know, what do you think about this? Should we leave it up? Should we take it down? So, and it's not always easy when those things happen.
So I was going to add, Martha, the group that I participated in, and Nancy, you and I, when we met at Washburn, I was telling you about how big our Buy Nothing group was. And I live in the Lyndhurst neighborhood, and it was a multi-neighborhood, and there was 1,000 posts on average a day. Not posts, but the post plus the comments. So the admins were having to, so we just sprouted actually into 4 smaller groups, and it was controversial, right? People had very strong opinions on both sides.
I actually stole Tangletown out of that group when we created the Kingfield group. It was like a discussion between the admins of that group and like the upper folks of the Buy Nothing movement of like, group, it seems like Tangletown should be with Kingfield. So that's funny because I don't know if I would be here if Tangletown was not in the name of the group. So, but yeah, sprouting is something that we talked about quite a while ago in the group. And people, that's something that gets people mad, is talking about breaking the group up. People are very vocal that they don't want that to happen because they feel like the way that the neighborhoods are right now, there's a lot of like diversity in terms of economic backgrounds. And if we were to split, that would lessen. So.
I just miss having the bigger pool because I came from a group with 1,800 members, And now I'm in a group with 750 members. So there's just fewer people to, you know, who might have that crazy plastic window bracket that you need for your blinds that just broke. That happened to me once. I was like, does anyone have one of these square brackets? And someone did.
Mhm.
So it's just a smaller pool of resources.
Does anyone have any final questions for any of our three presenters? In reviewing the questions that were submitted with the event registrations, Nancy, I have one for you. Someone asked if there was a way to access the Fix-It Clinic expertise for items that are too large or heavy to bring to an on-site clinic.
That one is a little tricky because I think oftentimes you would have to go to someone's home and look at whatever, you know, I'm thinking they're probably asking about an appliance. And for liability reasons, I mean, you can imagine like if something happened with one of the volunteers going to someone's home. So we really don't do that, but maybe they could, again, if we had even like a phone call consultation, I'm not sure that the person who is needing help would be able to open up the back panel of the refrigerator and find the condenser unit, you know, so it's a little, I think most of those things we should try to leave to the appliance repair people.
And also, I think this one also applies for that, is can a pickup and delivery option be considered for the Fix-It clinics for someone with mobility issues?
We could consider it. They wouldn't benefit from that teaching and the working on it collaboratively with a volunteer. They wouldn't miss out on that aspect. So it would really just be about, I need my toaster fixed, you know, and I don't know how to do it. I didn't get to work on it, so, but we could consider it.
I wonder if there's some sort of, maybe this would be just creating it from the ground up, but like, you know, connect with your neighbor about, you know, are they going to the Fix-It clinic?
Yeah,
I think
resource sharing.
Yeah, it's just resource sharing. Yeah, or just
Yeah.
posting it on.
I know we've
Yeah.
shared about the clinics in the Buy Nothing group before because it's totally in line with what we do.
And we've
Yeah.
had people, you know, they'll either come with their neighbor, they'll give their neighbor a ride, or they'll bring their neighbor's thing or their family member's thing with them. So
Yeah, like promoting a field trip, you know, on a Buy Nothing group, like, hey, who wants to go with me? You know, like, yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
super fun.
Okay, let's see. There's two more things in the chat. So, yes. So, we have someone saying thank you so much to Martha for being the moderator of the Buy Nothing group. And then Andrea is just reminding everyone to fill out an e-waste reduction commitment card and help us track our impact for our e-waste reduction series. But if no one else has any questions, we want to thank you all for attending our series tonight. And we want to thank our presenters for sharing their hard work and their innovative resource sharing resources with us. We really appreciate you taking the time tonight to share them with us. And we look forward to participating in them in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.